far more severe for us. Ex-WTO boss says Brexit will damage UK more than EU. Brexit will be far more damaging for the UK than to the European Union, a former World Trade Organization Deputy Director General told the Express.co.uk. Roderick Abbott, also a former EU ambassador to the World Trade Organization, laid into the idea the EU would be worse off from Brexit than the UK. Speaking to Express.co.uk, the former ambassador highlighted the importance of Theresa May agreeing a deal with the bloc after Brexit but said it would be damn difficult. Mr. Abbott insisted it was absolutely clear that the UK was going to be worse off after Brexit. He said, "This is not the same degree of the problem as it is going to be for the UK. This is a thing that has been floating around since the campaign, before the vote. The idea was that the EU would suffer more than the UK and therefore they would start putting pressure on their governments to make a deal." The former ambassador reiterated it was clear by looking at the proportion of trade between the UK and EU member states, that Britain would suffer more than the bloc because of Brexit. He added, "I think that is completely misconceived because if you look at it proportionately a very small percentage of the EU exports as a whole, go to the UK, whereas it is nearly 50%, it's something like 44 or 43% of UK trade goes to the other EU countries. If you look at it that way, proportionately, it is absolutely clear that the impact of this will be far more severe on the UK than the other way round." The former EU ambassador's views were mirrored by Brexit negotiator Guy Verhofstadt, who told the UK that it must end up worse off after leaving the bloc, otherwise there would be no point to the EU. Mr. Verhofstadt admitted that the entire bloc would suffer because of Brexit and said he would attempt to find another balance with the British. However, he then warned, "But we can never create a state for the British or any other country outside the EU which is more favorable than being inside the EU. Otherwise there's no point to the EU. There must be an advantage to being a member of the EU and that's the foundation of the mandate for the negotiations for the Commission and the EU Parliament." Mr. Abbott said it was vital for the Prime Minister to secure a trade agreement with the bloc after Brexit, but accepted a good deal might be hard to reach. He added, "I would say that it is absolutely vital, it's crucially important to get a reasonable deal. I don't know if there is any chance of getting a good deal. If I read the speech, Theresa May, made in January, that's her wish list, that's what she would like to have. I don't know what the chances are of getting all that. The answer is, it is absolutely crucial, if the UK do not have the preferential access for your goods, which is the free trade area part of it, then you are going to have problems. If you do not have some form of agreed association to the EU in the area of services, which is a big export for the UK. It is business services, professional services as well as financial services. If you do not have some form of agreed association, all of those people are going to be in difficulty. I'm not saying they would never sell anything, I'm saying they would have difficulty." The EU ambassador finished by insisting how important it was for both sides to enter negotiations carefully, before he rejected Mrs. May's message that no deal is better than a bad deal with the bloc. He said, "No, it can't possibly be true because it depends what a bad deal is, it's a subjective thing. But a deal means you have got some agreed arrangement and some agreed way of trading with the EU.